were John
Yeah.
Rake when I met you in like kindergarten.
Yeah, dude. So my up until like the third or fourth grade, my last name used to be Rake. It's now Jacobson, but only because my parents got married. And during this time, I'm not gonna say it stopped the bullying. People just like shifted gears.
But your parents are your parents. They
Of
were
course.
together, they had you, they're still together. They just weren't married. And so your mom gave y'all her last name instead of your dad's.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly what happened. So
Okay.
for the longest time, my for the first couple of years of life, my whole name was John Rake, and so it was funny because people were just like, "Oh, you gonna go rake the leaves? Friggin', let's go send John out to do the chores. He's good with rakes." And I'm like, God, this is not fun. And then I thought, once I fully comprehended friggin' my name being changed to friggin' John Jacobson, I was like, oh, my bullying days are over. No, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt was
Yep,
ushered
that
in
was
pretty fast. It took kids that much time to go like, you know what? You suck even more. Anyway, so with further ado, yeah. So I'm freaking. It's a school day, right? I believe it was like a Wednesday. Um, it's I'm in school for like an hour or two, right? And it's
Uh,
like I'm like in science class, and like over the PA system, it's like, can John Rake please come to the principal's office? And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, it's not a problem.
ooh. Yeah.
Ooh, no, it wasn't like that. I hadn't started becoming a bad child by this point. I was a pretty good egg. Um, so I'm like in the principal's office. My parents are there, and like they're dressed, a little more dignified. And I'm like, okay, interesting. So they're like, hey, we need to go to the courthouse. You need to go sign some papers with us. I'm like, is my real family here to take us, take us away, or like, what's going on? No, so like we find ourselves in the municipal court and all that, and I've got no idea what's going on. I if he I didn't know what was going on very much at all back then. But you put me in a freaking legal office at that freaking tender age, and I'm just like, I hope there's candy. So this guy in his suit is sitting at this big oak desk, and he's got like this paperwork. My parents and him are talking, and they're conversing about this new legal form and all that, and this that and the other. And the whole dynamic changes when he like takes this piece of paper and he like slides it across. He slides it across to me, and he puts a pen like beside it, and he was like, "Well, today your life's going to change a little bit because we're going to change your last name." And I'm just like, "Oh no, thank you. I have a last name." He was like, "Okay, so here's what's going to happen, son. You're going to write your name on this paper." And I'm like, "Oh, I mean, sure, I can do that, John Rake." No, no, well, okay, let me explain. Your new last name is going to be Jacobson. And I'm like, "Oh, so you want me to write my dad's name on this paper?" And he's like, "No, no, you're okay. So, do you remember when your parents got married?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I was there." And they're like, "Okay, and your mom's name, your mom's last name is Rake." I'm like, "Yeah, I know my mom." "And your dad's last name is Jacobson." I'm like, "Yeah, I know him too." And like, and they got married. And I'm like, "Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I just said this. I was there. I was there." And he's like, "Okay, so by that merit, your last name is now changed in the legal eyes of, just by due legality, your last name is now going to be Jacobson because your parents got married." I'm like, "Right, no, my last name's Jake or Rake. That's my last name." And everybody's like, "Okay, all right. Here's the deal. Your last name is now Jacobson because your parents are married, and we need you to sign this paper with your new name from you on this paper right here, dotted line, John Jacobson. And they could see that the gears are just like barely turning, just barely turning. I'm just like staring at this paper, staring at my parents, staring at the sky. I'm like, okay. Reach for the pen, and I'm just like, okay. Big J's on the paper, little O, H, and like they're rooting for me at this point. They're like, okay, he's got it. He's got it. Little N comes, and they see like the workings of like an R. They're like, no, 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 no. J. Jacobson starts with J. You're in the third grade. You know this. Write the J. I'm like, okay, you want me to write my last name on this paper? They're like, yes, we want you to write your last name on this paper. Yes. I'm like, okay. Everybody, okay, so like the level was here. Now we've escalated things. And like everybody in the room is like, just is like a little bit more on edge. And I'm like, okay, so you want me to write John Rake on this paper? Like, no, we want you to write your new name, John Jacobson. I'm like, okay, but I have a name. My name is John Rake. Like, no, your name is John Jacobson. I'm like, I have a name. I don't know. Okay, you want me to write my name? I will write my name. My last name is Rake. I am John Rake. I just wrote my name like 20 times in school. On every fucking test I failed today, it's John Rake. Like, everyone's like, oh, like, it's just heads and hands at this point. They're like, oh, just. Listen, son. Listen, son. Your parents are married. I'm like, I was there. Yes, I was there. I'm like questioning my reality at this point. Like, I was there. Okay, your parents' names together are Jacobson. Everybody has the same last name. I'm like, no, what? My last name is Rake. This whole thing goes on for, I swear to God, a full half an hour. And like everybody in that office is as white as me. The lighting is poor, but like everybody this white for whatever merit this flashlight's giving me right now. This white, this noticeably white. By the end of this conversation, everybody is beet red and furious. Nobody's on my side anymore. Everybody hates me. Like, find your name on this paper. Like, I'm trying to tell you I have a last name. It only took to like where I thought I had everybody on the edge. It's like where like I looked up for a split second, and my dad had this look on his face like, when I get home, I'm going to have 2 children instead of 3. And I was like, okay, big R, here we go. Like, I don't know what's going on. I still have zero comprehension of what's going on. And I'm just like, okay, big R, that's going to kill me. AKE, or fucking Jacobson, yeah. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, your name is John Jacobson now. I'm like forever? Like, okay. And everyone's like, okay. Just, when you go to school tomorrow, tell people that you are John Jacobson. Okay, but I have a name. But fine. I'll do it. If that's what you guys want.
You just gave in under, like, not even understanding, but just under the first year.
And so, and so last week, on the last podcast, we were talking about how my sister was just so she was just so enthralled with the concept that she thought that we were adopted. She was telling me this story and everything, and I was just like, I feel for her, you know. I feel for her. All these like years later, I'm just like, I understand what you were going through. People also made me feel like I was adopted.
Yeah,
maybe the mindset shifted a little bit, but I understand what she's going through.
it's so funny that they wouldn't just write the name for you. Like, this whole operation hinges on like a a dumb fat little 10-year-old just wrapping his mind around the concept of like a change in identity at
Thanks,
2
man.
p.m. in the afternoon. You know what I mean? It's just like randomly.
It's all hinging on me, and it's not going well.
Why couldn't they just sign your name for you?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But it was.
That's so.
I think we all found out a little bit more about each other that day. I'm just like, I found out where my dad draws a line with my bullshit is, and that I'm never going to go to college. uh, those fools. I did go to college.
Yeah, the days of John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt were great. I remember that. No one made fun of you for rake, as far as I remember, but everyone was like, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. His
uh,
name is my name too. Yeah,
yeah, dude, that era is still in existence, man. I, I just laugh with people now. It hasn't stopped. It's never going to stop. Uh, like, okay, so I travel for work now, and I'll still catch certain people like at hotels, like friggin' humming that shit to themselves. Like they'll like see my name and
yeah.
everything. Or just like, oh, sure. I'm just like, oh, okay, this fucking guy. But
Dude, I remember back in the day that when that happened, I remember like asking you about the name change, and you were like, "Shut up!" You're like, I don't want to talk about it.
oh Lord, dude, I was fucking so confused back then. I was like, I don't know what's fucking happening. I wish people would stop asking me if I know what's happening. I have no idea what's happening.
No,
I used
you
to get
really did
jealous of my
not know.
friend. I used to get jealous. I don't
Huh?
think I ever told you this story. Do you remember our mutual friend, Dylan?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not huge on like giving full names and everything, but
sure. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
he was in gifted class and all that. I used to get jealous because he used to get different tests than us when it came to this one fucking test. It was a spelling test. He would get different words
Hmm.
than like us, like okay, like and she would say like okay, for the gifted students, which I thought was totally unfair because I had a whole different set of gifts, just none of them worked to my benefit.
Sure.
My inability of capturing new education or intellect, that was a gift. It didn't work out for me, but it was my gift.
Right.
So I got jealous during these like spelling tests, and so I would like try and spell like his words. And I remember I did it twice because I was like, he's not better than me. Apparently, he was a lot better than me because I failed those bitches. I got whole zeros on those things.
Dude, I remember we were in like kindergarten or first grade, and Dylan. This was so funny, dude. So funny. Dylan, obviously he was very smart, cocky little shit. In retrospect, he was autistic, like for sure, autistic.
Yeah.
But very, very, very bright for the most part. But I remember one time it was like Halloween, and we were just little kids, like 6 or 7 years old, and I remember they were asking us to spell and define some very simple words. They asked us to spell boo. I remember that. BOO.
Uh-huh.
And then the other one they asked, she asked the class if anyone could tell us how to spell maybe and what the word maybe meant. And Dylan raised his hand and said, maybe means no. Because every time his parents had ever told him maybe, it meant it wasn't going to happen.
Oh God.
Yeah,
That's
just
fucking
because his
true.
dad's a liar. His dad's a disappointment and a failure.
dad, dad means no.
Yeah, maybe means no. I still remember just laughing my ass off.
That's that's incredible.
And his dad, you remember what happened to him, right?
No, dude, I knew. So I think you remember me saying this. Like you'll ask me questions about high school and grade school. I remember more about grade school than I do about high school.
Yeah.
I don't. There's a few reasons why, but I don't
Sure.
I don't I don't recollect a whole lot about high school. Like he'll ask me about people, like, hey, do you remember so and so? Do you remember this girl, this guy, or like this time? No, dude, I smoked so much weed back then. It was I'm not like a lot, but like I spent more time creating ways to sneak out, drink and smoke than time actually trying to better myself with actual knowledge.
Yeah, I think you're really sensitive to like drugs and alcohol. I think it throws you way the fuck off.
Yeah, dude, I've ruined whole Colorado trips with just a joint.
You are especially sensitive to weed. Like it just does not work for you. So,
It doesn't take much to for something to be detrimental to my psychology.
well, anyway, no. So go back to the thing I was talking about before. Dylan, we are talking about his dad. Do you remember what happened? What ended up happening after high school? There,
No, no.
dude, his dad. His it turned out that his dad was like a drug addict the whole time for like years,
Oh
for like
wow.
a decade, and his dad had spent. This is wild, dude. So his dad was not like involved. He would just come home from work, whatever. And his mom, they didn't really have much of like a talkative relationship or whatever, I guess, because his mom didn't pick up on it. He was doing drugs for like years and years and years, like
Hmm.
7, 8, 9, 10 years. Anyway, he started working at a car dealership in town, like selling cars. And those dudes, a lot of those car dealerships are known for like drug use among the salespeople.
Uh,
Like they make a sale and they do coke to hype themselves up to get another sale. They spend like half their paycheck on drugs.
uh,
And so this fucking guy secretly over the course of years spent all of their money on drugs. All of their
oh,
money on he was an alcoholic, he was smoking crack, he was smoking just doing everything he could get a hold of. He had a heart attack and his drug panel failed for everything. He was drunk, he had weed in his system, he had coke in his system, he had meth in his system, he had heroin in his system, ecstasy in his system. He had everything.
dear God, man.
And so he spent all of their money and they lost the house. He spent their checking account, he spent their savings, he spent their retirement, he cashed out the 401ks, he spent
Oh
his kids'
no.
college fund, and then his wife Maggie found out, and she ended up, you know, divorcing him, kicking him out, and he died a few like pretty shortly after that of like a heart attack, drug related, whatever heart attack. And
Sure.
he was always kind of a dick. Like he was never a nice person.
Uh-huh.
Um, I remember one time uh, they were telling me like I went to daycare with them. Like
Mhm.
his mom watched a bunch of the neighborhood kids after school. And I remember one time like he just never interacted with the kids at all, really,
Mhm.
which is fine, whatever. But I remember one time that like the the window thing, like the lower, when the basement of a house has a window and they
Yeah,
have like a dugout thing, whatever, around it. I
yeah.
remember one time I was messing around in the backyard and I like threw some sticks down there, and they I was like probably like 8 years old, and I think his sister and his mom were like, "Don't do that because when Don gets home, he'll beat your ass with those sticks." And I remember thinking, Don ain't gonna do shit. If he does, my dad's gonna fucking whoop his ass.
Your
But
dad would have.
anyways, that's the kind of guy he was. Um, but so like he was never involved, and my dad was like involved. He like took my friends to shit, took us to football
Oh yeah.
games, you know, cool birthdays, took us to movies, out on the boat, all that stuff. So,
Oh
but like, so then like years and years later, it's after Don has been like found out as basically a total wreck and failure. His
yeah.
wife's already divorced him. He's already kicked him out of the. She's already kicked him out of the house. They're already at the point. This point, going to lose the house. I'm like 20 at this point,
Yeah.
and I remember I had been to Dylan's house, and they were like getting rid of all their shit, and there was like some books there that I thought were cool, and they were going to sell, and I had some interest in them, and I just remember a few nights later, I got a phone call from Don, Dylan's dad.
Yeah.
I had never really spoken to the dude ever before. And
Mhm.
he starts telling me to come over right now and give him money for these books. Like right now, right now. I'm like, doing shit. He's like, I need money for these books right now. He's like commanding me like he's my boss or something to come pay him money right now for these books. And I'm all I was just, to be honest, I was like, I was doing some shit, but I was like stoned and feeling lazy. But
Yeah.
he was just like, he was basically trying to boss me around. And I just remember being like, you know what, Don? No, I'm not going to come right now.
Yeah.
I'm not on your schedule. So if you want to leave him out for Maggie to have me pay money for them later, that's fine. But like you have no leverage. So I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Um, and he got all pissed, and stormed off or whatever. And I went and bought the books from him a few days later. Dude, I have another story actually. In
Hit
that
me.
time period, Maggie, Dylan's mom, came on to me.
Oof. All right. Let's hear this.
Dude, the woman who like she was my friend's mom, and like I was in her daycare as like a six year old,
Sure.
and she came on to me as like a 20-year old.
I mean, she saw the she saw the legality of it all. She was like, "This is my time to shine."
Yes, dude. I was like, again, I was all stoned and stuff, and
Sure.
I like went over there to talk to Dylan. He wasn't home.
Mhm.
It was like her and her friend, and I was fucking hot when I was 20. I was real good looking. I was in great shape,
Oh, I remember.
handsome, whatever. So just the truth. I was fucking looking good, but I was like all stoned or whatever, and I like went over there. I'm like, meandering around. I'm talking to her. I'm talking to her friend. I'm like, maybe I'll just wait for Dylan to come back home. And I like go inside. I'm like reading a book on their couch, and she sends her friend off. And I remember, um, I'm sitting there for like 15 minutes, and Maggie comes in and sits down next to me. At this point, I'm still just waiting to see if Dylan will come home. And
Mhm.
I'm like on the couch. She sits down. She starts talking to me, and I was like, you know, kind of. I mean, like I was high, so I was like not quite picking up on it. And she's like, all of a sudden, I realized like it's the feeling you get when like there's a predator. You realize a predator is watching you or something. Like the hair stood up on the back of my neck. I'm like, holy fuck, Maggie's trying to fuck me right now. I
That
swear
type
to
of
God, I swear to God, like I just hit me all at once, and it was just like this spine tingling, like yeah,
predator. Dylan's mom's trying to fuck me.
I was just like, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. It's just fucking grabbed my shit. I immediately stood up and skedaddled the fuck.
Oh, that's so great.
I was
Oh,
just
that's
like, oh
terrible,
my
but
god, oh my god, holy shit.
she was just nipping at your heels, huh?
I was just like, I couldn't believe it. Still to this day, I'm like, what the fuck, lady?
Jesus.
It was
Yo.
just the way she was. It was the way she was looking at me, the way she was talking to me, like her position on the couch. Like she fucking
Oh,
wanted to get dick down.
oof, oof. The, I can relate to that story because recently on our last expedition to the mountains, I found myself alone at the top of Bierstadt. I was just coming down and everything, and it was just me for like a solid like 2 hours. Like it was like the middle of the day. People have already come up and summited in the morning. People had gotten off the mountain, and because I'd done some like extra stuff up there in the mountain, um, I was just coming down by myself, and like I had that same feeling. Like I was being. I told you about this. I was like coming off the mountain, and I just couldn't get this like sense I was like being watched, and I was like, oh fuck, I didn't see anything, but it's just like that incredibly eerie feeling. And I'm just like, oh shit, like there's a cougar, a bear, a something watching me right now.
Yeah, that's the feeling you get when a cougar watches you.
How scary! You're a survivor, dog.
I almost got munched, dude. Little 20-year old me almost got his dick and balls munched by a cougar.
How terrible!
Anyway, dude, that was weird. That was weird because I've known that girl since I've known that lady for since I was literally like 5.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Do you remember how many hours wasted we spent in your room? Just we're talking about all of our great plans, and then smoking just weed all the time.
Yeah.
We spent at least it was somewhere between 4 and 6 hours just in your room like one day. Like I remember I got there in the morning. We had talked about the night before going to the gym early and everything. We were like gonna hit the weights. We were gonna go swimming, and then we were like gonna go for a run or something like that. And then it was just like bowl after bowl, just like, yeah, dude, you want to go to the gym? Yeah, let's hit this bowl real quick.
Yeah.
Like for like hours after that, we
It's not
just
the
like lay
whole
around
thing.
stoned, just
Every
talking
30
about.
minutes, be like, all right, let's go to the gym. But one quick bowl first. We just lay back down like 8 hours. Literally, like I think the gym was closed by the time we went to go to it.
Dude, we were so. I remember your confidence, dude. Overwhelmed me sometimes. Like I knew that you were too high. I was definitely way too high. Just to be, I think that just by merit of just being young, people were just like these fucking morons. Like they would obviously see that we were just like too high, but they just didn't say anything just because we're just like they're just stupid kids. But I remember a few times you and I just like out in public, and I'm just like blown out of my mind. I'm just like, fuck, I can't function right now. You're like, come on, Joe, let's go. And you're like dragging me around the town.
God, good times.
We had zero plans of like disguising it or anything. You were just like, you were just like driven by ambition to be high out in public. It was like your crusade. You're like, people can't tell what to do.
Yeah, 24/7, dude. I remember one time, this kid from the grade below us, or maybe two, I ran into him several years after high school,
Mhm.
and he was like do you he was like, do you still smoke weed? Like I was like, nah man, I actually sobered up. And he was like crestfallen. He was like visibly destroyed that I no longer smoked weed.
You were his idol, dude. You were his hero.
Yeah, I remember yeah, he was like, oh man, this is sad. It was one of our it was I can't remember who it was. It was one of our elementary school teachers' kids, who was like a grade or two below us, who I smoked weed with one time, and he was like having problems or whatever, and he was like, "This is okay because you do it," and I was like, "No, you shouldn't do this. You should
No, please don't do that.
don't follow my example. Trust me."
I get it, man. I get it. Again, I don't like to like name names or anything, but our good friend Alex and everything. What was that story you were telling me about him? How he would he would say some like some like offhanded shit like while leaving like while leaving like this like one classroom. He was like the teacher would be like, "What'd you say, Alex?"
Nothing.
Nothing
Peter
being
Pan.
class. And I'd just be like, "Well, what did he say?" And you're like, "Some shit he wasn't supposed to."
Dude, speaking of Alex, I have the funniest. This is the best story about Alex. Dude, he had such a problem with teachers, administration, all that stuff when we were in like, especially like elementary school and middle school. One
Really?
time in like seventh or eighth grade, he was in homeroom like before the classes even started, just like watching like channel one or whatever the whole like morning thing was.
Yeah.
And there's a there's an overweight woman on the TV. Alex is like Alex is like talking to his friends and whatever, and he looks up and there's a there's an overweight woman on TV, and he goes, "Whoa, that girl's really fat." And the teacher gets all pissed off, and he's like, "Alex, come see me out in the hallway." And he's like, "Oh, okay." So the teacher takes him out in the hallway, and he's like all pissed off. He's like, he's got his arms crossed. He's like, and he goes, "Alex, my sister's fat." And I was just like, okay, what?
All right. What do you want me
All
to do? Like walk for obesity? Like what are we doing?
right. Alex, my sister's fat. Oh my god.
Is she like on Jenny Craig or something? What's going on?
Okay. What do you want me
Man.
to say to that?
Yeah.
He didn't have a follow up point at all. It was just my sister's fat.
All right. Dude, I didn't know. I knew like that like we were like all friends back then, but I didn't really like you were like the one person that I really hung out with the most in high school. Of course, like a few other friends, and everything, but like as far as like the gang who kind of like did their own thing, paved like their own way, kind of got in trouble. I was like some part of me was like, I want to be a part of that guy, like I want to be a part of like that crew, like that gang.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like so driven. I'm just like, I have to freaking, I have to like rebel. I have to be a part of like the cool crowd because it was like you, Jonah, Steven, a whole bunch of other guys, and I was like, oh fuck, all my friends do like pretty mundane type of stuff, but like I want to get in trouble, or at
Yeah.
least like
Yeah,
seem
we
like
were
I'm
like
a bad kid or something.
yeah, we were
But
like doing drugs and like getting in car wrecks and all this shit.
yeah, like getting into like fights and everything, and like I knew like I wanted to like rebel and everything. I just didn't know how. I didn't know how to rebel. I was just like, oh, okay, well maybe these guys can teach me because I sucked at rebelling. I was like, my idea of like rebelling was like planning a successful future in the military. I was like, if I leave Kansas, I'll rebel. But
Yeah, I remember one time showing up at Steven's house. It was after his accident. God, that was horrible. But
that was god
you were
awful.
all just you nobody cleaned it up at all, dude. He was like I showed up. and everyone was trashed at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you
Yeah.
were all drinking like jungle juice with his like brain seizure medication in it.
Oh, wait, hold on. Are you saying I was there?
Yeah, you were there.
Oh well, yep. That's the brain seizure medication.
Yeah. And everyone, it like fucked everyone up so bad. You were all, it was like, you had like jungle juice. You had like fruit punch with like
Oh,
half fruit punch and half vodka and all these
yeah.
pills they had just dumped into it.
That's what. That's what it was. Yeah, I remember that now. I remember bits and pieces.
And it was
Me
like
and
the
Nick were
most
outside
fucked
doing.
up, it was the most fucked up I had ever seen any of you. And like you were all like riding bikes and like crashing BMX bikes into the dirt,
That sounds about right. Sounds about right, man.
smoking weed
Uh,
and just generally being porch monkeys, dude. You guys were the biggest. You guys were the biggest porch monkeys I've ever seen in my life. And Jonah, dude, Jonah forgot how to read. Do you remember that?
no.
Jonah drank so much of that shit he forgot how to read for like 2 weeks.
I forgot how to read.
He couldn't read. He couldn't remember anything.
That's so great. Not
Or
great, obviously, but like just reflecting on like back at that time. I remember that Nick and I got so fucked up. Like we were outside, like in the middle of the street, talking absolute nonsense. I couldn't understand what he was saying. He definitely couldn't understand what I was saying. But then, like I think, like somehow cognitively, like we linked. We were just like started doing somersaults, and that's basically all I remember from that. I don't remember you showing up. I don't remember freaking dirt bikes. I don't remember anything. I went somewhere else in my mind. That's for sure.
and then after that, shortly after that, Steven got a settlement for like I don't know, 60 or $70,000, and he blew it all in like 3 weeks.
Good God,
Dude, his parents were so irresponsible. They let him do all this shit. He got in this car accident. Fucking, they just like unmonitored. He's like running the house, just doing drugs all over it, inviting other people to do his drugs,
yeah,
not monitoring the condition of his health at all.
yeah,
And then after he got that settlement, his parents like left town for like 2 weeks, and it was just party at Steven's house every fucking night, like the wildest shit. It was like the whole house was just full of people smoking and drinking and like
yeah,
just
yeah,
party, dude, party time.
yeah, dude.
His parents were so irresponsible. I remember after they moved away to Manassas, Virginia, me and Dylan flew up there to see him and his brother. And I had like I had like $250 or something like that, maybe $300. And
Yeah.
the first day I was there, I spent all but like 20 of it on booze. I just gave it to his dad, and his dad just bought us like fucking like 250 beers or something, 260, like all these racks of beers and all this liquor
Damn.
for us staying there for a week. And he was just like, I just want you to buy me a 12 pack. So that's what he did. So I did the rest of that trip just on nothing but like liquid bread and courage and $20.
Oh no.
So me and Dylan and Steven just got smashed for the whole time we were there. Like shower beer. We're like 15 years
Oh
old.
damn.
Shower beers, like getting hammered at first thing in the morning, like morning sun up to sundown. As soon as we woke up in the morning, like trying to finish all this booze that I bought. And like it was like
That's
we spent the whole thing on booze and cigarettes and weed. And like they just let us like go downtown to DC. Like
Mhm.
just go downtown to DC and wander around as like children. It's like one of the most insane, dangerous places I've ever seen.
They're like, have fun.
Yeah. And then when we got back, I remember Dylan and Steven, like they would get like we were obviously just plastered, and we would
Yeah.
go on walks around the neighborhood while Dylan and Steven would break into their neighbors' cars, like right down the street from where they live, and
Oh
like try
my
to steal stereo equipment.
Oh my god, dude. So bad.
I can't believe none of our friends went to prison, except for one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's wild. It's just that's fucking insane, dude. But quick story about Alex. I didn't really know that much about Alex besides like maybe a few, you know, stories from like what I would hear from like you and like, another friend or two. But the times that I did, talk with like Alex, it was like more like in passing. I remember I was hanging out with this one girl. I was back in JROTC, and like I really fancied this like one girl like back in the day and everything. And I was like walking with her like down the hallways, and it was like in between classes. Everyone's like in the hallways. It's busy. And do you remember like those dividers that were like in the middle of the hallways? I think yeah. Well, I think like we're holding hands or something like that, and she's like a friend's like talking to her, and like they're crossing paths, right? So she's like turned around, she's like talking to her friend. As soon as she turns around, bam, like right to this divider, and like not enough people like saw it, like registered it for it to like really matter. So she like plays it off. She tries playing it off. Like 2 seconds pass, and Alex, here comes Alex. He's like walking down. He's like, "Hi, hit that pole!" And everyone saw. And she just turned beat red. I couldn't say anything because I was like, "Well, I mean, you did."
You did hit that ball. Fucking Christ.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the thing that freaking that really made sure that nothing between her and I was ever going to happen. Oh man.
That rules.
Yeah, man. Um, did I tell you that I went to John's wedding not too long ago? I think I told you about this.
Yeah, Haug.
Yeah, yeah. He
Oh,
recently got married to
uh,
a very nice Greek woman. She's super nice,
yeah.
and so like that's the person that I used to hang out with quite a bit back in the day. You and him have an interesting dynamic because I've heard the same story from both sides, you and him, and each one of you like feels like the victim in that story, and I love hearing the story from both ends.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Because like I was trying to convince you to hang out with John. I was trying to convince John to hang out with you, and like every time I brought it up, like on either side, both of you were just like, no, I don't think it's gonna work out between us. And I'm just like, okay. So at first, like, I let it go. I was like, okay, there's something here that I need to let these two figure out first. And it's like a year or two like went by. And like I addressed the question again. I'm just like, hey, you two should like hang out. I think you two would have like a lot in common, like hang out and just be friends. And I think I asked John first, and he was like, listen, man, I've tried hanging out with Andrew in the past. Just he just showed up at my house one day and just expected us to hang out. I was like, oh, interesting. Like I don't know what happened between all that. And then I
John
talked to you
Haug.
and just I think I really hope I'm getting the story right.
I don't remember that. Well, go ahead.
Okay, and if I get this wrong, let's try and freaking like edit this out. I don't want to get these stories wrong.
No, go
But
ahead.
like, and then I talked to you about it. I'm just like, hey man, why don't you hang out with John? I'm like, yeah, I tried hanging out with him before, and I think I was over at his place, and then he was busy, and we just didn't really get a chance to hang out. But I don't know. Do you remember any of that back then?
No, I've never hung out with John ever. Aside from one time, I was walking home from school, or I was like in between my house and school somewhere, and it started to rain. and John Houck pulled up in his truck and was like, "Hey, what's up, man? Do you need a ride?" And I was like, "Sure, that'd be great." And I had really never interacted with him outside of when we were in eighth grade. Dylan used to bully him.
Yeah, I remember that, dude. Dylan was a little dick.
Dude, he is a dick. That's why I don't talk to him. Like he's like completely amoral, sociopathic, like 100% selfish.
Yeah.
But yeah, he used to bully John. Really, it was because he felt threatened by John. Uh, John's like the nicest kid ever. He's like one of the nicest people I've ever met.
He's still to this day super, super inviting, very nice. I need to hang out with him again here pretty soon. He just got back from deployment, dude, and like he was out in Poland for a full year. I need to hit him up again, dude. Anyways, incredibly nice, very sweet, caring person.
Yeah, like
Uh,
a genuinely, it's not like nice guy shit. He's like genuinely a sweetheart.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like I thought he was gonna be because I never bullied him, but I laughed when Dylan did, and so I thought he was gonna like
Only
be
some
mad
people
at
back
me.
then.
I thought he was gonna be mad, like hold a grudge, whatever, because I didn't do it, but I played along,
Sure.
and nope, no grudge at all, just super super nice. But
Mhm.
I've never showed up to his house. I don't know where he lives.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like friggin' maybe it was something else. I don't know. Knowing my freaking memory from back in the day, who knows? Because, like I said, I don't recollect a lot. I don't recollect a lot of high school,
Yeah,
and a lot of that was okay. All of that was my fault, but it was probably the jungle juice that really got me.
yeah, just that one time.
That shit was powerful, dog.
Yeah, yeah, that was.
Yep, took my very first shot of vodka with Jonah. My very first anything of alcohol was with friggin' Jonah, and he was like super cool about it. I made this fucking, I like made this joke that like Jonah like didn't understand until until I had to like say it again because I rode my bike over to like Steven's house and I was like, hey dude, and it was just like Jonah at like Steven's house. And I was like, okay, cool. And he was like, do you want to hang out, dude? And I was like, oh yeah, sure, dude, fuck yeah. And like we're like, I think we're downstairs, like we're playing like GTA or something like that. He was like we're talking about this and that. And I was like, I need to show up to like one of y'all's parties. He's like, oh no, John, you don't want to be a part of any of this. And I was like, I wish I would have listened to him back then. um, but he was like, I mean, if you want, do you want some vodka? Like, you want a shot? And I'm like, it's my time to shine. Fuck yeah. Fucking take this. Like, he goes outside, grabs like this fucking fifth of fucking like vodka. It's like, what was that god awful stuff we used to drink? Barrett's,
uh, Barton's.
Barton's. Good God. Oh
Yeah,
God.
bottom of the barrel, dude. Just the absolute worst.
God.
Engine cleaner.
That's what it tastes like, dude. He gives me a shot of this stuff, and I'm just like, oh my God. But I had to like play it off because I wanted to be cool, and I was like, it's so good. I like it. And I was like, after that, I was like, I should. After this, like, I should go. He was like, I don't. Oh yeah, I remember the joke. I was like, I don't want to get a BUI. He's like, John, it's DUI. I'm like, yeah, but I rode my bike.
Yeah, dude. Um, good times, good times. You should call Jonah, by the way.
Yeah, dude, I'm fucking planning on it because I am going home for the holidays here pretty soon, and I always make it a point to hit up Jonah whenever I
Mhm.
am like whenever I'm back home.
Well, maybe give him a call before you go home.
Okay, I can do that. Hey,
Um,
yeah, miss that guy, dude. He's a good guy.
good guy, fat motherfucker.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, listen, this has been fun. I think this is about enough. We just reminisce through half of our fucking lives right now.
Yeah, dude. I think we're. I really like that we're doing more of these podcasts. But yeah, we are fucking we're really rolling through, man. Any big news on your end?
No, not really. I was gonna say I think we should switch to like more of like maybe like a current event style where we cover three or four topics that are happening in the actual world every time we do one of these. At least have like two topics planned.
Sure.
So, but
Sure.
other than that, no, no, not really. I'll still living up here in Colorado. What's your schedule look like? Like, what are you doing for the next month or two?
Month or two, I am out here in South Dakota. Out here in Watertown, South Dakota, we are changing out a main shaft on one of the N149 towers here. On it's a Nordex platform tower. Anyways, we're just doing some major correctives, man. We're working alongside cranes to get out this here defective piece of equipment from the tower and just replace it. So that's what I'll be doing for the next couple weeks.
Couple weeks, and then what? You're going back home to Kansas?
Well, I've got my R&R scheduled for not this coming weekend, but the weekend following. I'll be off for a week.
Right on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I agree, man. I will. I'll bring forward some topics that we can talk about on the next podcast.
Yeah, let's think about it. There's plenty going on, so maybe we can
Honey going
dish
on.
on Israel or something.
Yeah, man. But all right, dude. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. See you later.